Hello everyone, welcome back to Drawn by Annie channel. Grab your tea, coffee and snacks and let's dive into today's video. So today I'm going to work on something similar than the last one. So this is going to be a digitizing of the traditional medium drawing of mine. Actually there are like several drawings in this one, so this is going to be a little bit of a longer video, but I'm going to digitize little drawings of chibi gods from Lyria World. And Lyria World is my fantasy setting that I'm writing currently to make it into a tabletop roleplay game, and I've been working on it for a few years now. And since I'm doing everything myself for the most part, if we don't count the biggest input from my friends and the player testers of course, that are helping me in making the actual content and also fixing the mistakes and some weird stuff, like the writing takes a lot of time and also the drawings, they eat up all of my free time and sometimes I'm also exhausted from other projects and creativity is running dry. But this time I decided to kill two birds with one shot and practice digital art as well as digitize old chibi drawings from the oldest times, because these have been drawn maybe 5 years ago. I think I drew them during the first COVID lockdown and I hanged them on the wall so they will decorate my workspace at the time, so I wouldn't feel that lonely, because I was completely alone in the whole apartment and I had to think of all the activities and everything that could elevate the mood not to feel so lonely, because it was forbidden to go out of your apartment even for 5 minutes. I was drawing like crazy, and at that time I think I wrote a lot of content for the Lyria part and the rulebook and did a lot of sketching and stuff, so if it was to last a few months longer I think I would have been done with Lyria World by the end of the lockdown, but it wasn't the case. So here I am working slowly on some illustrations. Those drawings I actually made in a sketchbook and then cut out and made it into a little wall decoration. For example, the background wasn't painted, it was just like a paper with patterns, so I would glue it onto the plain carton and then glue a chibi drawing on top of it. And I tried to pick the patterns that would resemble somewhat the nation, but while digitizing I don't think I'm going to make any sort of background other than just the plain color. I think chibi drawings are so fun, and also they are very useful tool for me to create more content in a shorter period of time, because my world has 7 gods, and if I would take my time and paint each and every one of them very detailed every time, it wouldn't be very productive in terms of like covering all of them, because they are all very different culture and very different detailing, and all the lore also has to be somewhat featured. So drawing chibi gods can also help me squeeze a lot of content into one little drawing, and at the same time not invest too much time in it, just so I can present each and every god and their nation quickly to the player, so they can pick the one that is their favorite, so they can quickly decide which type of character they want to play, because that's how Lyria setting is working. There is a lot of variety and there's also options for min-maxing. If you know, you know. There are a lot of players that would like to be at maximum efficiency, so they would invest in the specialty characters and max up their skills and stats and everything, and the rest is going to be very low leveled, but they will be very good at one or two specific things. So Lyria setting actually offers both of these options, so you can be either a very good and very narrow specialist in your thing, or you can be sort of a jack of all trades, master of none, but still better than master of one. So yeah, even a single glimpse on the drawing like this and you can already tell how different the nations are, because even their appearance is very different and their clothing is already very different. So at least the player can see which type of physical appearance they would like for their character, and also they can kinda assume that their character is going to wear this style or the other. For example, you can see that Fortian is more into like Viking warrior style clothing, something to help survive a harsh cold environment, and Praeditos and Ignitum, they are more like fancy dresses and suits, and you can already assume from these clothing styles what is the lifestyle of their character, or like assume a stereotype on what lifestyle could their character have. From Aeterna's clothing we can see that she is pretty open and she looks like she just came from the beach, so this tells us that this nation is mostly living in beach areas area, which could mean also islands. So smaller shacks and fishermen would be more stereotypical for this nation. And eleganta's clothing is more suited for forest because of the colors and the camouflage style. And also it's more practical because they need to climb a lot, you know, things like this. So the details in appearance of the character is very important in this case, as it explains the most of the lore part of the characters. And this rule of thumb can actually be applied to any character, either your original character or fan art. Like the way you design a character should tell you a little bit of the character himself or herself. Another good case could be to draw your character's room, which has been a challenge for me because I'm not very into environment drawings. But like showing off the room of the character can tell really a lot of the character's everyday life and their interests and even some character traits. Like for example, if you would see my room, it would be very messy and full of art supplies. So yeah, that can definitely tell what are my interests and how I'm going about life, a little bit chaotic, you know. And also I have a lot of colors around me, which also tells about me being into a colorful stuff. But at the same time, if you would see me out in public walking, you would never realize I'm actually an artist or into anime because I'm wearing a very specific style of clothing, which is mostly like cargo pants and oversized shirts and hoodies and stuff like that. That could more tell about my music taste, for example, because I look like hip-hop lover even though I'm not. There's a lot of things hidden in details. It's a very nice rule of thumb to keep this in mind, that you want to put details and specific details into character design of yours. And you can also notice this kind of details in the existing characters and know even more about their lore and their thoughts. So yeah, that would be it for today. I hope I have shared some interesting and useful insights from my perspective as a character designer for the fantasy world and the principles that I'm actually using. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and a comment, and also subscribe on this channel. I'm going to be very happy to see you around, and I wish you a nice day, and I hope to see you in the next video. Bye bye!